Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, the Strongest Wizard, and tonight is indeed Fight Night. We have yet ourselves another OP09 match here. We got my man Swish21 on the left-hand side, rocking out that Shanks, as well as Supernova Keith on the right, of course, with that purple and black Luffy. Now, what is really nice about this turn 2 ability here is playing out that Zoro to essentially ramp one down off of the Zoro, then one down off of that leader is pretty good. Looks like we are going to swing 6k into life, which does connect, dropping Swish down to 4 already. And now we're going to see the 1-cost Searcher Law coming down. What do we have for our targets? Now, what is really interesting about this purple and black Luffy is that it's extremely defensive. So we're going to go ahead and see exactly how that kind of pans out for Keith. Quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is DXN Outpost DXN Provisions, the only place where I get all my singles as well as sealed products. So check out the link below for some One Piece TCG. So it looks like here we have Swish on his turn 2. Of course, we have 4 active Dawn. Now, unfortunately, there isn't too many great plays here for Shanks turn 2 going second. I mean, you can play out the Lucky Roo as an option if you have it, of course, and maybe like Uta Searcher, and that's really honestly kind of it. Not too many fantastic choices here, but the 7k swing does actually connect, which is pretty great, and we see the Gatling trigger off of the life, which allows you to ramp one Dawn. Extremely useful here. So good. Now, of course, we have 2 active Dawn here from Swish, so most likely we might have the Red Hawk, and if we don't, or if we do, we just have to play around it. So Keith just has to make sure that we essentially have to swing with the Zoro first and make sure that he's a 6k body. So making sure we attach one Dawn to him is pretty crucial. It might make Keith play just a little different, but we are going to go ahead and see exactly what he wants to do. We are sitting at 7 active Dawn, which is quite a lot, honestly, already. Thanks to that Gatling, being able to ramp one off trigger was pretty nasty work here. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly the package Keith is running, but what's really nice about purple black is that there's no right or wrong answer. I feel like you can really build this deck however you want. I've seen people run Rebecca's in this deck. Hey, you can do it. Why not? But we are gonna start things off here with that Zoro here once again, being essentially able to ramp a Dawn. Really good here, and of course we have those ES tokens as well. If you guys want to buy a couple of those, they are in my my bio too. So click out that link. Check out the link. Or click it too. So 6k swing does get the Otama counter, and if we had the ability, if we had the Red Hawk, we'd be using it right now, but unfortunately it looks like we don't have it. So looks like we are going to go ahead and play the Law. And guys, I completely forgot about this ability. Pitching 2 blind is very good. Getting that 10 cost Shanks out of hand is really good as well as that 0 cost event card, making sure that you kind of filter some of the dead cards in your hand. But this the swing does connect here, dropping Swish down to 3 life already. Pretty insanely fast here coming from Keith. Very aggressive. Essentially, of course, you'd love to do that with the purple and black Luffy, but we're going to go ahead and see the crackback here. What can Swish do? Now, we should be at 6 Dawn here, and this is kind of tough. It looks like we might just swing 6k into the Zoro, try to manage the board a little bit, see if he has the counter, and yeah, 6k swing going into the Zoro. Does Keith have the 2k, or maybe we want to give him 2 1ks? I feel like at this point, we might want to just go ahead and counter out of this if we can, just so we can just apply just insane amount of pressure. And then with 5 Dawn, maybe he'll play an Ace or possibly a Marco. Or if we see your hand, we have the Rayleigh, which is actually quite nice. But yeah, it actually does go down here. Now the Rayleigh is kind of nice because we have 2 5k bodies on the board, so that allows us to draw 2 trash 1, which essentially is a queen effect. The only thing that's really nice about that is you don't have to minus a Dawn, you just get to pitch a card. So actually pitching the guard point, a card obviously that's very defensive, that allows you to kind of make sure that you last a couple turns with 10 Dawn, so that you're able to utilize your top end as Shanks. So very interesting to see here. But with Supernova Keith here, we are at our 10 Dawn. I mean, the amount of cards that you can play with 10 Dawn, with purple and black. Both colors have insane top ends. Gecko Moria, 9 cost Luffy. I mean, 10 cost Luffy. There's so many pretty insane options here. So attaching 1 Dawn to our leader, we're gonna go ahead and tap, it looks like 5. Do we have the Sanji? We do, actually. Being able to KO the character because he does have a character that is 6 cost or more on the board, which of course is the Sanji himself, thanks to that purple and black Luffy ability. When attaching 1 Dawn, all of your characters gain +1 cost. So the 6k swing does get counter out of it with the leader effect plus using the ace ability. 5k swing going into life, and that's the only issue now, is you have to counter a couple 5k swings. So obviously the Zoro did get counter out of, but now this law swinging 5k into life, I like to see it here coming from Keith, just being very aggressive, going as wide as possible, and blockers can of course attack. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we swung 5k with that law, which would be really good at just demanding so many cards out of Swish's hand. And yes, 5k swing does connect here, dropping Swish down to 2, and it's looking a little rough. Now, what is really nice about this right now is that if we have Rayleigh, we can KO the Sanji, as well as most likely remove the law out of the board. But yeah, it looks like we're gonna go ahead and -3 on the Sanji, get rid of it, and then just -2k on this law. And now this 5k going to 3 does of course connect, and we're gonna go ahead and pass the turn. Now I do love that kind of cleanup, getting rid of 2 bodies on the board. Doesn't matter if your character has an additional cost, I'm able to just kind of run through it. Yeah, just making sure we had the correct the minus effect there. So now Supernova Keith, we have a couple different options. It looks like we had the 7 cost Sanji just to get a little bit of rush going on. That'd be not too bad. It looks like we're gonna go ahead and tap 4 here. Do we have a Nami? Nope, we have the Frankie, that is right. So we're gonna go ahead and -2 down. We're going to go ahead and pitch a card, is what it looks like, and then we're going to go ahead and draw 2. Using Luffy ability here, we're going to ramp 1 rested as well as 1 active, and that is extremely good. Now we have 7 Dawn backup on the Dawn there, backstanding, so 7 Dawn active. Yeah, honestly, really good. Not too bad. Keith has been trying to convince me for some time now that this deck is really good. So we're gonna go ahead and see. Honestly, I'm not a huge believer of purple black Luffy, but if Keith has something to say, he's saying it right now. You know what I'm saying? So he might be the difference maker here. So 6k swing going into life. Now, of course, this is an easy 1k counter with leader ability or just a 2k. It really all depends what Swish has in his hand, and it looks like he doesn't have too much counter. So we're actually going to give him the Ben Beckman with that leader ability. So we did mention that before. Now the 5k swing will just connect here, but we're gonna go ahead and play out the Nami. We're gonna go ahead and pitch a card and then draw 2. Doing that first, I think this is the time when Keith has to decide, do I want to let go of the Sanji? And that is huge, you know. Having that open rush is always really good, and it looks like we do end up pitching the Sanji, which is of course interesting. I know, just you know, maybe just prioritizing the other cards in his hand, right? So it looks like this is a 7k swing. You've already used leader ability. Do you have the 0 cost event card? Do you want to use the 0 cost event card? Those are the things that kind of Swish is kind of going through right now, and he does have the 0 cost event card in hand, but unfortunately Swish is just such at a back end right now. He's like really at the back foot of this whole situation, and he's actually gonna go ahead and taking it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just pass the turn here. We for Swish, and I believe 6 cards in hand now. Do we have another Rayleigh? Honestly, another Rayleigh would be great, and we do have another Rayleigh. We're gonna go ahead and minus 3k to the Frankie to KO it. I'm sorry, minus 2k, that's right, minus 2k. Now this is a 5k swing going into the Zoro. Now there's really, I don't think, no way we can save this, and if we do, it will just cost a lot out of our hand. It's like 2 2ks, right? I mean, if Keith can do it, awesome, but even then, no way he goes for a game with a 2k body on the board. So I think Keith has to let this go, right? Yeah, and then we're gonna see an 8k swing going into life, and we're gonna go to taking, dropping down to 2, and pass the turn with 2 active Dawn. Now once again, we are threatening the fact that, do we have a an event card here. If we have the Red Hawk, we can actually use it to KO this Nami if we have it, of course. Now, of course, Swish did end up kind of bluffing that earlier in the beginning of the game, having the 2 Dawn as active. So Keith might think to himself, hey, maybe he does have it. He just didn't want to use it at that previous turn to get rid of that Zoro. Just not really sure. But now we see the Gecko Moria. Yeah, if you thought that this leader didn't play Gecko Moria, you are surely mistaken here. Playing out the Frankie off of that, it's just value Moria, right? We're gonna play that blocker. We're gonna go ahead and draw 2 cards. So a lot of really good stuff here, having that nice cycle. And with still 2 active is still pretty good. So yeah, pitching the Bon Clay to draw 2 cards, kind of blind. That's the only unfortunate thing, that with a lot of this purple draw 2 trash 1 that we are getting from the Straw Hat side, it's all you trash first, right? So you can pitch a 2K counter, then just draw 2 dead cards, or vice versa, right? That's the benefit. So it looks like we are sitting at 3 active Dawn, and I think at this point we might just swing a big 7k into life and then leave 1 for a Giant if we of course have it. And I think at this point Keith has to have Gungam Giant, right? There's just no way. And Gungam Giant, just such a nasty card. That card is honestly probably one of the best, if not the best, purple card out right now. So 7k swing does connect here, dropping down to 0, and now it is time. This is Swish's most likely last turn. And let's see exactly if he has enough gas in the tank. We're gonna go ahead and play out the Goldie Roger. Now this makes it so that if Frankie blocks period, Swish automatically wins the game. So counter out of the 5k swing. If he gets out of this 8k swing, it's literally just game over. There's nothing that Keith can do, and there's no way you have any amount of counter left to counter out of Keith's board, right? There's just no way with the Gecko Moria plus Frankie, and we just need 2 2Ks. Does he have the 2Ks? And it looks like he does have it. He has 1 2K and 2 1Ks, and looks like Swish is just gonna fold here. Yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and give it up. Supernova Keith does end up taking it. Thank you guys so much for checking out this channel. This video, I really do appreciate it, and stay tuned because I have a ton of new OP09 content coming out soon. See ya.